Welcome back to the Tailosive EV podcast, ladies and gentlemen. We're joined again with your regular Randy and Mike, and we have some kind of breaking news, updates from Lucid that literally dropped like minutes before we started recording. Sapphire. Just to go with your Chase Rewards card. There's now.
I love Sapphire Chase Reward something.
But do you love the Lucid Sapphire, Randy?
It's so breaking. I haven't had time to look at it yet. So this is real breaking news.
Posted the specs in our little group chat here, but basically this is Lucid's response to the Plaid Model S. It's a tri-motor system, and kind of like I expected, they were kind of hyping up the idea of the triple motor. It has under 2 seconds, 0 to 60, 1,200 horsepower, 0 to 100 in under 4 seconds, quarter mile in under 9, and over 200 miles per hour. So at least on paper, this does beat the Plaid. But yes, it costs $250,000. So
it costs the same as the
Roadster. It also beats the Plaid in that.
It beats it beats the Plaid, it beats the Roadster, it beats the Semi in price, performance, range. Did they say the range? I'm looking around.
I don't think they.
I assume it's high.
Over 500. I would assume.
It's probably over 500.
It says class-leading range. So,
okay.
On their official blog post on their website.
Whatever that means.
So who knows?
How do you think the people who paid for the Dream Edition feel at this point?
I would assume the same way people who paid for maybe
full self-driving.
Full self-driving. Yeah, that's great. Yeah. Welcome to Tesla's ultimate dilemma. Like, I pay for this thing and this other thing is better. Yeah. Well,
I don't know. I do. What's annoying, I for one am not a big fan of this choice. I think Lucid really needs. They really need to dig themselves out of this hole that they're in, but they're just still throwing money on a bonfire, and instead of I don't know, trying to pursue the air pure, they're like, nah, let's make a chrome deleted car similar to Tesla that has like plaid looking stuff, has the California bear all over the place. So
yeah, they love that bear.
Yeah, I guess.
Good looking bear.
And then crazy specs and all that. Cool. I don't think it's going to help you much, but maybe this might be their one last hurrah. Of like, we made a really amazing vehicle. Only a few people have it, and then we went bankrupt. That's all I'm seeing, because it's at the end of the day $250,000, in which they're probably making it for like, I don't know what their margin is.
Something like that.
So you don't like the specs, Mike, or you don't like how it looks?
I don't think it's necessary. I think the Grand Touring and the Dream Edition accomplished what performance Lucid was going for. And if they wanted to go for even more performance, they already do it for Formula E. So why are we seeing a Sapphire? I don't get it. Like, sure, you want to beat Tesla. I guess, yeah. It looks nice, but
I love like that shade of blue.
It is a nice
I love the shade of blue.
I think they call it Imperial Blue.
It should be Sapphire Blue.
I thought they called
Nope. I believe
Sapphire
Imperial.
Right.
This is Sapphire. It's Imperial Blue. It's
yeah.
I'm just now realizing I've never seen a Lucid that was blue before, which never clicked in my brain. Oh, why isn't there a blue one? I guess I had other things on my mind with the company, but
fair.
I think the product itself looks incredible.
Agreed.
And kind of like I expected, I do think this will outperform the Plaid. We won't know for sure until they actually start shipping it. But because they're not saying, 0 to 60 in 1.8 or 1.7 or anything. They're just saying under 2, which is pretty much right in line. And the quarter mile time is beating the Plaid, and it definitely beats the Plaid in horsepower. So just based on the fact that we know the Lucid powertrain is very efficient, very compact, and has a ton of torque, just the fact that it's 3 motors from Lucid versus 3 motors from Tesla, I fully expect this one to outperform the Plaid. But so that doesn't necessarily surprise me. So congratulations if that was their goal. If wanted to be the fastest accelerating sedan in the world, then you've done it, or you're going to do it, I guess.
Congratulations, Lucid. You led.
You led. You did it, Lucid. You can go across the entire United States on a single tank of gas. But what's funny is the link I sent you guys with the specs was from MKBHD, and in that tweet he said, if they actually ship this, it'll be nuts, which I thought was kind of hilarious wording. He's not treating this as a confirmed, like, okay, this product exists. Like, just that one little word in his tweet is like, but also, startup, Lucid, money.
Yeah.
But we had a whole talk last week about how you guys said, no, I don't think Lucid will go bankrupt because they've got funding and they've got the Saudis pumping them, and they don't necessarily need to be profitable, but they're too big to fail, or they'll continue to be around. So if you do have that belief that, like, regardless of how profitable they are, investors will keep them afloat, doesn't this Sapphire make sense? I guess I'm playing devil's advocate.
If they're getting infinite money shoveled into their furnace, yes. But if they actually want to, I don't know, make a profit eventually, no. Doesn't make sense to me at all.
Okay.
My stance is still the same from last week, that like their target audience are the people who have too much money on their hands and they didn't want to put it in crypto. So here you go. Here's your toy. I think it's a great looking car. I have to see, because it's so new, I don't know, but first impression, if money was not a problem, I would probably revise my answer, and like I wouldn't mind getting the Sapphire Lucid if I can get it, if money's not a problem and it ships.
You take that over a Model S, Model X, you're saying, or?
Yeah, I mean, just to Apple, it's not too late to buy this company. Just saying. It's still early in the game.
Yeah.
Apple
It's a
CarPlay
beautiful
2.0,
car, Apple.
fully integrated.
Hey, Apple. I've never seen a better candidate than this one right here. Come on, Apple.
Unfortunately, the announcement doesn't seem to have had much of an impact on the stock price, which is
Tends to be the case for EVs, unless it hurts buying all
but
of them.
yeah, no EV really announces anything. Even with Cybertruck, it did the opposite. It tanked, but I think I
think that was because of the
window.
demo. Yeah.
I think the window had a lot to do with that. But
shattered expectations.
The cheapest Tesla ever was. Shattered expectations.
It didn't really break. It fractured, but it didn't break.
If it was any other window, it would have gone right through it.
That's right. But
I don't know.
No, I think
oh my God.
They're going to get a lot of headlines and probably a ton of YouTube videos made about them just for being the fastest and beating Tesla on something, because they likely realize. So I'll play devil's advocate because I think I mostly already agree with Mike. Like, financially, this is an indication that they are struggling to ramp. They clearly have cut their production estimates by 75%, which is not a good sign. And I don't have much faith in them actually delivering on the Air Pure, which is what I think the bulk of the reservations are. I don't think there's that many people willing to spend an extra $70,000 for 100 miles of range. If you get 400, I think they're fine. I think they're like, can it charge fast? 400? Yeah, plenty. I'll take the $90,000 one. And Lucid is just continuing to try to justify, no, get the 150, get the 180, and now they're going to be like, get the $250,000 model because that one's so much better. So I mostly agree with Mike, but to play devil's advocate, if they are set up in a way where they just really, really don't know how to scale, either because they can't, or maybe they just need to delay the Air Pure further, then actually leading in some categories might be the right way to go about it. Like, they're not going to lead in delivery numbers. Based on the reviews I've watched, they're not going to lead in software, because that's been kind of buggy and unreliable. And also based on reviews, they're not leading in luxurious interior features. Mercedes still beats them there. So they looked at what they had available to them in terms of design and capability and went, what can we like actually be the best in. Because I felt like for a while, Lucid basically just had range, and that was the one thing they were the best in. And they were like, how do we make the product more desirable? How do we get more people willing to drop more money on our car? And they realized that, there's a lot of performance junkies out there. They're willing to spend tons of money on hypercars, supercars. So they do have very, very impressive powertrains. And I give them that. Full credit. They have the best, most compact, efficient powertrains with great horsepower. So they realized that if we build a tri-motor, then we'll probably beat the Plaid. And we'll have some of the best specs on paper for any EV you can buy or any vehicle you can buy. And that might win over a bunch of people. A bunch of people will want to buy this car to talk about it, to do track tests with it. And hopefully, because of the absurdly high price, why does one motor add that much? That's what's kind of trippy.
Mm-hmm.
All their other vehicles, other than the Pure,
I think because if they just sell just one, they will fix a lot of their financial problems.
I wonder if the margins are actually pretty decent on it, because maybe the margins aren't great on their other models.
Maybe.
And if they can get even a very limited number of people to buy them, then that'll uptick their actual profitability of average selling price goes way up. And,
at least help offset it or something a little bit.
So maybe there's a way to spin this as if you're struggling to ramp up and you can only build a certain number of vehicles, building a higher price but higher performance model might be the best way to go about it. But
I feel like deja vu, right? This is what we said last week. Like they're taking the Tesla approach, starting with the Roadster Model S and kind of trickling down. Maybe.
Yeah.
Okay, if I could take off, oohs and ahs with the appreciation of new something today, on paper with the operations of it, the logistics, they're not doing good. But I still think that they're just not gonna go under. They're not. This might be one of those guys that just maybe because they can boast about certain accolades of being the first to something that they're just not too big to fail. They're just too interesting to let fail. But they're not doing good. They're not okay. So any type of hype is better than nothing. And I feel that with this car, if they try to put all their eggs in the basket here for this, then maybe it's a soft reboot of the structure a little bit in a way that the other ones are still there, but people were taking reservations for the Roadster or the Semi, which you can't do anymore, or the Cybertruck, which you can't do anymore. But
I got my Semi locked in.
Woo!
Should have done it.
So you feel like, or I feel like maybe a proper soft reboot for Lucid is start with this latest and greatest and parade this around like a Cybertruck in New York City and see what kind of attention it can attract, and how people like us cover, just there's press on it, just covering what's going on with it. It might help, because if they can't meet the production issue or the production demand, the supply demand, then start with something absurdly high, like $250,000, and say, all right, who wants this car? And
not
you
that
can
many
tailor
will
it to
buy
the
it. Yeah.
not that many will buy it. So then at least you can maybe focus on that. And God, I hope for them in their case that it's the profit margins are there where it helps them, because then it can help, the trickle down effect on that. But it's a good looking car. I try to play devil's advocate on both sides, but good looks alone, just on paper, like Marquez showing things on paper, and if this ships, it's good theoretically, but as we've seen with many others, that's not enough, and it's not good enough. What I say last week, rubber to the road. Sometimes enough with the hype or the talk or the produce, show, and
Right.
That's where everybody else, including these guys, they all struggle. And I hope for success, because it'd be nice to see new blood. But for what it's worth, at least it's a cool looking car, and we don't have to worry about I don't want my thing to look like a Prius or a Nissan Leaf, And Lucid I've told you guys earlier this week, but last week I was talking about, I was like, I saw my first Lucid in the wild. I found the exact same car near where I saw it last time, parked in the parking lot of a shopping center where I went to go get anyway, I was grabbing lunch and I was like,
yeah.
So this is where you hang out.
Yeah.
So I kind of feel like I'm stalking it a little bit, but it's undeniably the exact same car, and it's and it has Virginia plates, so it's not traveling, like it's here. It lives here and it's nearby, and I want to meet that person and pick his brain and
you should
him and I have something in common. We stand out like sore thumbs when I'm driving around, like, hey, look at me, So I want to talk to him. He's in one of 3 buildings. If he's in the shopping center where he parked his car, I don't think he works there. So I want to go there. Who has the Lucid? The what? All right, not this building. Next one over. Who has the Lucid? I do. What's wrong with it? Nothing. Oh my God, you're so cool. So yeah.
You left your lights on.
You left your light. You left your light on.
Right. So I guess is the Sapphire color only going to be available on that Sapphire model or the Imperial?
Makes sense.
The Imperial blue or whatever. Yeah, probably.
I kind of like that
color.
concept of the color being exclusive to the powertrain.
Kind of, yeah.
Color.
Makes me miss
you'll know
the
it, and you'll know
Gold.
exactly if it's the high performance one. You'll just
that's my favorite looking color. That's like from factory. So not matte olive green. This is probably my favorite looking color out of because I think if not on the show, definitely Drew and I went back and forth about like picking colors and speccing things out, and I was like, but the color this and that. This one right here is probably my favorite color I've seen so far, by like a lot.
My favorite looking Lucid for sure. I've never seen a Lucid look better, but yeah,
it has that stealth thing too, the stealth whatever. Mm-hmm. That's the top part. So it all delete. Just chrome delete. Yeah, it's a very Tesla looking car.
So here's the question then. They say it's launching next year. Do you think Tesla will do anything about it? Or are they just going to say, good for you. Okay, Lucid, have your bone. I'm happy for it. Because I just want to say that when I get comments, because I did a video expressing my concern for, okay, Lucid's probably going to release a tri-motor this Friday, but that's cool and everything, and it'll probably beat the Plaid, but this is a bad sign for the company is struggling to ramp, and they're still messing around with trims and trying to make a higher they keep coming up with higher priced models.
They keep on making
new
models.
All these reservations. What's that?
They used to have 3 or 4 or 5, and then they're like, okay, we're not doing the Dream Edition anymore. But also, with the Dream Edition, you get 2 different versions: the performance and the range. And then they did the same with the GT Touring. We have a performance and range version. You're like, okay,
right.
Hopefully it's
and the
done.
performance version of Grand Touring was more expensive than the Dream Edition.
Exactly. So you're thinking,
and
okay,
now they're doing this.
Hopefully they're done. No, they're gonna make the Sapphire, which is exponentially more expensive.
Yeah, they keep coming up with more expensive models, even though I think most people who have reservations are like, the people with reservations are like, I'm waiting for the cheaper one. I reserved the Pure. I'm waiting for you to ramp up, and they keep cutting production estimates.
Yeah.
And I know that Tesla was limited production at first, but when I see comments of people saying, "Oh, you're just a fanboy. You're just so scared that Lucid's going to make and I'm like, I'm not scared that you're making a faster car. I bought the slowest Tesla. I couldn't care less about performance, and I would pay for a slower Tesla if it meant I got it sooner. I do not care who has the Rimac Nevera probably still beats the Sapphire. So who cares ultimately? I'm not into the who can be the fastest car. I think the Plaid Model S is unnecessary for most people, and most should just get the long range because it's a lot cheaper. I'm scared for Lucid because of their revenue stream and because of how many people love that product because they've made a solid design with great range, great efficiency, with an amazing powertrain. I'm expressing concern, not because I'm a Tesla bull and I'm worried that Lucid's going to compete. Tesla needs more competition, guys. I actively encourage it.
Competition's good. It drops prices.
Drew needs his car.
more so than prices, it drops wait times. Can we stop getting people to order?
We were hoping to have an update this week about your reservation.
Don't get me started. I'm gonna lose it. But if more, because I know how much it sucks to wait for my car. Okay, that's why my heart goes out to people with the Air Pure reservations that are waiting and waiting. And how do you think these people feel now that they keep waiting? Lucid keeps cutting production. Actually, we're not going to build that much. Actually, we're not going to build that much. And then they announce a $250,000 car. Like, how are all those?
They just keep on announcing new tiers.
Yeah, like we're waiting on the tiers you promised us in the first place, and yet you're talking about new, more expensive. Like, what if you were like, okay, I'm waiting for my Pure. I can't wait to get the Pure, and then next year they announce a quad motor variant that's $400,000. Like,
they announce a semi.
What's the point?
We're gonna make this.
It was the semi. Now the semi is a 3-motor, but yeah,
that's amazing.
True.
I feel bad for them, and my heart goes out to them. Like, my wait time would go down if Lucid actually ramped production. That's why I'm pushing, like, please, Lucid, ramp up. Deliver your products to your consumers. So it's just the comments saying that, ooh, you're just scared. You're just worried that Tesla's going to have a threat. It comes across as very insecure. That's all I want to say to you guys. Like, it comes across as the smiling through the sweat. Like the... You're jealous.
Harold.
You're just scared.
Yeah, you better walk away.
That's what it is. It's that joke of like, yeah, he's walking away from the fight because he's scared that I would beat him. It's like a 5-foot scrawny guy being like, he's scared that I could beat him up, and there's like this, 300-pound.
And then Mike Tyson turns around. What do you say to me? Nobody steal from me. What do you say from me?
It's like, just because I express concern for a company's future or distress for their reservation holders, that doesn't mean I'm scared that Tesla feels threatened. I'm actually concerned and annoyed that Tesla doesn't feel threatened. I want Tesla to feel threatened.
Yeah, Tesla. Yeah, that's cute. All right.
Oh, you put 3 motors in a car. Impressive.
Oh, all right. Give me your macaroni art. I'll put it on the fridge. That's cute.
Basically.
Sapphire.
You got daddy's attention. Okay.
Sapphire is macaroni art because it's like, with how many Model S's are, like, the Model S is still like selling at the same volume as the Mach-E. Meanwhile, Lucid is producing less total vehicles, not even talking the Sapphire, just less total vehicles than like the Bolt, which is a 1/10 of the price.
Oh, you did it. You found a way to compare the two.
And it's sad that he did at this point.
Yeah. So I want people to understand this isn't coming from a point of nervousness for Teslas, but I do not care who makes the fastest car. I really don't. Like, because it has such little impact on the mission. It has little impact on me. And there's constantly iterations on that something will beat the Sapphire in another year. But I guess that comes back to the question that I'm curious of you guys. Do you think Tesla will take the time to combat this with a Plaid Plus, or do you think they're not interested?
Go ahead, Mike.
That's a great question. I was hoping you'd go first, but I
okay.
I would
I'm
think okay, well, here. I think a Plaid Plus at this point could be possible. One easy way that Tesla could do it, honestly, is just release the Roadster finally, and they'd kill 2 birds with 1 stone with addressing Lucid making a $250,000 car, in which Tesla can make the same, in which it wouldn't have limo-like leg room or whatever, but it'd be able to go quicker and do everything a whole lot better. And it would also protect them, or maybe not protect them, but address those that bring up Rimac and the upcoming Polestar 6. That is
that's right.
A Volvo-esque Roadster. And it'd also address all the comments of where's the Roadster, where's the Roadster, where's the Roadster. I would like to see the Roadster on the road finally, as many other people would. Please.
Hey, if the semi's coming out this year, anything can happen, right?
The Trio could finally come out. But I think, I don't know, it'd be nice to see the Plaid Plus. I don't think we need it, and especially with how many batteries it would need, being 4680 probably. Or I guess maybe just a whole bunch of 2170s and they get rid of a lot of the trunk or whatever,
True.
or make the trunk a little bit less voluminous or whatever.
Or
get rid of the maybe get rid of the frunk too. It is a possibility. I don't know. I don't even want to compare the two really anymore because I'm honestly just disappointed with the Lucid, and Tesla's already shown where they're showing where their money, where their mouth is, and their mouth is their goal of accelerating the world to sustainable energy. Lucid at this point is just making really powerful, high luxury cars, which is nice, but I guess that's also with their mission, in a way. They're trying to make captivating luxury EVs.
Is to get as much money out of you as possible.
Well, their mission is verbatim to inspire and adopt, or to inspire the adoption of sustainable energy by creating advanced technologies and the most captivating luxury electric vehicles centered around the human experience. I guess this product accomplishes it, but I don't know. What about you, Randy? What do you think? What do you think Tesla should do? Should they address it or
so? A part of it, you had part of my answer is like combat it with the Roadster. The Roadster is the long awaited like sleeping giant. This is the one that they're like, please. They want this one, and I'm sure all specs with the Roadster will all but increase with 2022 or 2023 numbers now instead of old dated stuff. I mean, they already talked about like just revamping the little things. It's the fine tuning of the Roadster at this point, and
of the air cannon.
Yes, assuming it's not a Roadster though, and maybe a Plaid Plus or whatever. To answer your direct question, first you said, would they or should they respond counter it? Would they do it? If it wasn't Elon Musk, I would say probably not. They would just focus on their own thing. But Elon likes to play ball sometimes, and
that's true.
He will encourage everyone else to, to be a contender in the game. He praised Ford for trying to make the transition, and he's like, congratulations, Ford. No, seriously. And I actually do take that as he wasn't being condescending with that. I think he's excited about that. And I think with Elon still calling these overhead type of maneuvers here, I think there will be a response, and he will. If I was him and I wanted to just flex for the sake of flexing, I would address it with the Roadster directly. I don't think another version of a Model S is the way to go, just because it's like you could. It's easy, and but that's why you shouldn't, because it's easy. It feels almost like a cop out.
You should,
But the Roadster, I mean, because you respond in two ways. Here's our version. It's better, and two, like it's the freaking Roadster. This is the one everyone's been waiting for. It will take all attention away from everything else. And a little bit more meta about it, I would want, not metaverse though, I would want them to do the Roadster, because then it would take attention off of Cybertruck for a second too. So internally it's like, let's stop talking about Cybertruck, let's stop talking about all these other things, and like let's appreciate that we finally got this beautiful piece of machinery just finally out there, and here's our blood crimson red looking beast, and
Sapphire blue.
Have a compete
red
blue
versus
and red
blue
versus. I love it.
Comes full circle. Rooster Teeth.
I love it.
Yeah, I mean it's only been like 1,738 days since.
I don't want to talk about it.
So
I don't want to talk about it.
Now is as good as
talk
time.
about 1,000 days for nothing.
They didn't say it was going to come out like that year. They did unveil it and say 2020, so they're technically 2.5 years late. Not.
Don't you technically me? They are rag.
I'll give you technicals about the semi and everything else. Let me give you technicals on your delivery now.
It comes full circle, and I think it'd be a great response to Lucid, because then it's like, who? Anybody who has any remote interest in the EV space, or even more remote interest in Tesla, knows about the Roadster. No one, I've met people who are not even like enthusiasts like that, who talk about the Roadster, and like no one could just shut up about the thing, because like I want to see what this Roadster is about. It's obviously not for us normies. We're not gonna. I'll be lucky if I can smell it or see it in the distance, let alone touch it.
Whatever you say, Randy. Me and my reservation are hanging out over here.
Roadster.
You have a better chance than most.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, being in the area. I think you have a better chance than most to get your hands on one, just being in the Bay Area.
So.
Yeah, we can rent one on Turo.
What?
One of you guys can do it.
I'll tell you something I did see personally at a parking lot.
Whoa.
As I was picking up this Magic Mouse, which I talked about on the Tech Podcast, so go check that out as well. I saw a big fat white brick known as the Hummer EV.
Ugh.
Nope.
And
it's so big you can't even fit it in your picture.
Man, it is huge. It's about the same height as me. I tried getting some good, accurate height photos of it. This is somewhere in the Bay Area. It's not as big as I thought.
In the handicap space?
No, it's an EV charging spot. You can tell by the EV charging cable plugged into it.
It's kind of over the line. It's over the sapphire blue line a little bit.
Oh my gosh. It's a decently huge boy. It's not as big as I thought. I was thinking something like the size of like an F-250, but I passed one of those in the parking lot while seeing this thing, and this thing is more of just a wide F-150 if you wanted to compare it or have some justification of size. So around same height. Actually, I think my Dodge might be. I don't know if my Dodge is taller than me, because you can see in one of the pictures I included here, it's about the same height as me, and I don't know if it's got adjustable air suspension. I forget. It's been too long now.
I think it does.
I haven't thought about the Hummer
in forever. It should.
Yeah.
For that price, I'd be shocked if it didn't.
Yeah, but it was interesting seeing it. I was very happy to finally get firsthand look at it, and I'm glad I never owned one or never really cared about it. But I was very excited to see it. Yeah.
That's absurd. It just looks stupid in the parking space.
It's massive.
Charging cable stretched out. Well, someone, I don't know who, but someone saw that and went, "Yeah, that's a reasonable car. I think I can justify that."
There's a lady staring at me while I was taking photos of it, and she just kind of had a weird grin on. I'm like, "It's a Hummer." She's like, "Okay."
Yeah. My goodness.
Oh, jeez. It's huge.
That's how I feel when I look at the Lucid out here. I just walk around like, ooh. And the guy's like, "Can I help you?" I'm just, there's my keys. I gotta go.
No keys. Not even.
No keys.
Oh, my key card. Yeah.
To stay with updates along. I don't mean to be so rushing into transitions, but I really challenge to try to get as much notes in as possible.
We talked too much about Lucid.
Rivian. Let's talk about Rivian. Can we talk about Rivian? I want to talk about Rivian.
The Explore package is no more. They've decided.
Or Ocean Coast.
And it actually worries me, because it makes me think, man, if Rivian feels comfortable with that, what if Lucid's just like, actually, we're not going to make the Pure?
Yeah, I'm worried about the Cybertruck.
The take rate.
There it is.
All they can do is they don't disclose this data. Although credit to Rivian Stories, they had a Rivian chairman on, and they asked him, they were like, can you give us the percentage? Like, what number of people were going for the Explore package versus Adventure? And he was like, yeah, I'm sorry, I can't share that. But they claimed he chose careful wording, which, it's probably not him himself. He's salaried. He has a boss and he has managers, and the managers probably are like, we're a public company. We have to maintain a certain image. We can't give away a certain amount of, information. But all they said was that the Explorer package was not as popular as they expected. I didn't hear them say that it wasn't the
Say
majority.
that one more time?
The Explorer package was not as popular as they expected it to be.
Okay.
And that's kind of how they justified deciding we're not going to make it. So
not
you
as popular. Okay.
But they didn't, when asked for percentages, they wouldn't provide it. But
that's a little sus.
Tesla doesn't provide that either. I wouldn't expect them to, like most companies.
That's a little sus too, Tessie.
Most companies would want to keep that data to themselves because it kind of gives away a lot about their average selling price. But just based on the subreddit response, there was definitely a lot of very upset people that basically the entry price for Rivian has gone up by about $6,000 because they were already pretty high up there. And a lot of people, especially me, if I was ordering a Rivian, I would have got the Explorer package for sure because I don't need ventilated seats. I don't need the tow hooks. I want the cheapest possible truck. What most people were saying on the subreddit was that the only reason there may have been less people going with Explorer is because of the wait time.
I was about to say it. It has to be about the window.
Yeah. Like it wasn't that people didn't want Explorer. It's just that they wanted the truck sooner. But
yeah,
you could argue that by discontinuing Explorer, Rivian is able to catch up on orders faster because they don't have to complicate the assembly line. They can just make all the interiors with the same stuff and they don't have to complicate. So I do think it was a tough choice, and I feel really, really bad for all the people out there that were hoping for Explorer, especially the R1S. R1S got way more expensive for the entry model.
It's starting to get up there.
It used to be 72 and a half, and now it's 78.
Ooh.
So I think that
so much for your tax credit.
I think it technically counts, but yeah, it's definitely like this is the outcome of once tax credits are passed and official. It's like, yeah, that's gonna knock off $7,500. Oh, by the way, your car's $7,500 Great, wonderful. Well,
love that for me.
Maybe the price is about the same as what you expected it to be, but now you get ventilated seats and a better sound system. I mean, I would encourage people that reserved the Explorer to try to see if you can splurge a bit and go with. I still think it's going to be an awesome vehicle, and a ton of people are going to enjoy the adventure package, even if it has some stuff you're not interested in. But yeah, it's still a bummer. It's still sad news at the end of the day. But
I mean, listen, personal preference, and obviously a guy who's not putting his money where his mouth is. Mm-hmm. I always was in favor of the adventure package because of the forest green. Like the forest green kind of stole my little heart. And
that wasn't on the Explorer package?
No.
Nope.
Oh,
that's a premium feature.
If it was, which I don't remember it being because I was building it out, I could not get the green interior, and that is sexy. So, the adventure package for me was the one that I would have gone with personally if I was able to build it out, because that whole green and wood vibe on the inside, and then I like that forest green on the outside. Oh my goodness, I would dress up as Boba Fett every time, but not Book of Boba Fett version. Boba Fett from the movies Boba Fett.
Where he talks or
the
says
one
5 lines.
The one who's the one who's badass. Exactly, Mike. I would dress up as him and drive around, but I would not call it a certain name, one, because it's 2022 and we'll get canceled. So I would just call it the ship or something. But
Ship One.
I think it's
Ship
Spitfire or whatever.
Yeah.
The adventure package was the cooler one. And I do see Rivian's stance on, like, if we can meet the supply issue, like, that's the name of the game for a lot of these guys. And
they're slowly turning into Tesla, all of them.
I really, yeah. Who isn't having production hell, you know? And
Giga Texas.
I want I really, yeah, that's okay.
They're in production heaven. Wow, we can just keep making them. That's amazing.
At whatever rate we want.
Put in another gigapress. Go ahead.
I guess so. Yeah. Out of everybody, because we talked about Lucid earlier, and well, even if we're not doing it now, eventually we talk about Aptera or we talk about whoever. But I want Rivian to succeed the most as a standalone. I really do. My bias puts me in Aptera just because San Diego, but genuine when it comes to the product itself and nothing more, I really want Rivian to succeed more than anybody else. And if this helps, by getting rid of the Explorer one, then okay. If Adventure is where it needs to be at right now, I can only hope that we in the future would see cheaper variances come out where they're able to kind of meet that demand. But more so than anybody else, just because I got so invested from your guys' coverage and just do my own research, I really root for Rivian as the other EV alternative above anybody else. So I hope this helps them. I do. And I hope
think it will.
Yeah. It's sad to see the was it the ash wood go, whatever color they called that wood.
Yeah.
And now it's
Did you get a chance to look at that at the First Mile event, Mike?
You and I were both there, so yeah. And then oh goodness, did I take pictures when I went to
I got a couple videos.
office?
I would have taken more if I would have known they were going to kill it.
Yeah,
I didn't
well,
know.
I've got photos on my phone, but what's interesting is seeing it now with the new white interior. It's not bad. Even the video that RJ, the CEO, put on Twitter, it looked decent. It looked good.
It's okay.
That's right.
Especially pairing it with the floor mats. It's not bad. And my dream Rivian R1T now actually has the Ocean Coast in it, just because I finally flipped from the green interior to the white interior, just because it looks good with the yellow. But unfortunately, my dream Rivian costs $96,000, and
It's the Max Pack, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the dual motor Max Pack. Because I don't think I
you
need
can do that.
quad
That's
motor.
cool.
Yeah, you could do that now. I don't think you were able to do it before, but you can do it now, which I think would be.
I can't remember, but that's cool. I'm glad that
you don't
exists.
need the kitchen. Don't need the
That
camper.
would probably have better efficiency. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I also didn't include the camping package just because I thought, well, I don't know what the tax incentive bracket is for Rivian. I think, was it around $100K or something like that? So I figure as long as it's below $100K, I could just add that feature later, because you could buy the camping package in the store.
I think for trucks it's 80.
Gosh dang it.
I can't remember.
I have to look it
think
up.
it's 80.
I mean, what was it? What YouTube channel was it? All Cars by John or All Cars from John? I'll get his YouTube name correct.
JonTron?
But no, not JonTron.
Very
Anyways,
different
this
channel.
one guy that I watched covered it, and he gave a nice little list of which ones qualify at what rates, or what their brackets are, and
Okay.
I believe he covered it there. But
Okay.
I guess what I'm getting at is it's becoming, I don't know. I like Randy, I agree. I want them to succeed. But these are just getting super expensive, and it makes me anticipate the R2 platform a lot more now, just to see what the Explorer package might look like in a different vehicle, and I guess what creativeness can they pull from a less expensive car that they're supposed to mass produce. So
Right.
Speaking of
bittersweet.
YouTube, I want to give a quick shout out to Frugal Tesla guy. Saved my butt.
Oh,
Thanks,
good.
Mike.
I tweeted him. He got back to me, and I am very grateful of the tutorial. I reported, I'm sure I did it on the show, I was having this battery issue that came up with my Model 3, saying that I have to schedule for services to take it in.
Low voltage, right?
Low voltage, yeah, the low voltage battery, and the 12 volt, and it said it's going to deplete more energy. It turned off certain features, like I couldn't wirelessly charge. I couldn't even just charge at all. Like no internal electrical was working, and I was stressing out.
Yeah,
and I'm like, oh my! As soon as I can get in, it was August 31st, and that's a problem because if I'm about to, yeah, we talked about it on tech. I'm flying out for a week, going to California. So this is going to interfere with all that. But everything I was reading was like, you need to get this in as soon as possible. I'm like, oh no. And actually, Mike was the one who suggested. He was like, hey, this sounds like something like this. He sends me the YouTube link about from Frugal Tesla, and I tried his steps.
Name, by the way, I would have taken it if it wasn't a thing.
It's so, and because he did something very frugal too, where it's like, hey, save some time, save some money. Oh my God, step by step, and he said he even cut out some steps in between. I did exactly what he did with his visual side by side. And Mike, I kind of like how you told me. It's like, take some time, try it out, get more intimate, familiar with your car. And I did, and I actually feel now more comfortable dissecting my car a little bit more because it doesn't feel so foreign anymore. You don't really have under the hood the same way, but you still have to get underneath like floorboards and seats, and you have to take off certain panels for electrical and wiring and cables and stuff like that. And I followed his steps, and it worked. So
what
his
happened
synopsis.
Exactly? You disconnected it and waited.
I basically did the hardwired version of turning it off and on again.
There's literally a button on the screen to turn it off, but then also unplugging a lot of the plugs, both the 12 volt
and it worked. It really did. The synopsis of what was going on, because he said he experienced this issue too, and the posting of the video was a week ago from this. I was doing
I think
this
it's 2 weeks
today.
ago, but yeah, maybe 3
or 2 weeks ago. Yeah, so it's not that long ago, and that makes sense because I got mine last week. And anyway, there was the conclusion so far, even though there's not an official statement. One of the over-air updates caused a disruption with communications between the low voltage battery and the actual interface of the car, and so it made it think that there was something wrong with the battery when there really wasn't, due to a certain update that was pushed out. And kind of resetting it, I did, before doing all this, last week I did do a hard reset with the steering wheels, and I did everything else, and it didn't go away. I'm like, oh no, I don't want to do this. But just unplugging it and replugging it, that was it. Like, it fixed it.
Wow.
We're still soon. I'll keep an eye on it. If it comes back again, I'm also going to follow he says if it comes back again, because he's been doing it now he did it over a month ago, and it has not come back since. If it comes back again, I'll try it one more time. And if not, I'm hoping by then I hope this is on Tesla's radar, as this seems to be a software disconnect, so to say, about what happened with one of the updates that went out. So I hope they're aware of that, because that was nerve-wracking. If I had to go in, because I have to drive an hour to get to a service center for them to do all that stuff anyway, that's inconveniencing my time. Brittany has to get out of work and leave base and meet up with it was really gonna, and plus this is we're about to fly out anyway. It's gonna be very inconvenient. So
right,
if they were just gonna unplug and replug it, which I'm sure there's some level of them doing that,
troubleshooting and all that.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I as a tech on my own side, when I had to do things on a smaller scale, one of my protocols is I always have to hardware disconnect everything before just restart it, and that's always the first root thing to do. And at least now I feel comfortable of doing tier 1 troubleshooting on the hardware end to get to the actual main battery source that's underneath the floor to unplug it. And I felt pretty confident. People were watching me in my driveway yesterday, walking like, "Hey, what you doing?" Just because my neighbors are quite friendly. I'm like, just equivalent of looking under the hood and just trying to figure some stuff out. And they're like, "Oh, okay."
Nice.
And then that was that.
Just checking the oil.
I'm glad. Yeah. Well, I'm glad it was helpful, Randy. I'm glad that worked out and it almost fixed itself instantly. And again, thanks again to Frugal Tesla guy. He's a pretty cool dude. Fun fact, he was probably the first, I guess, influencer or whatever to be in my Model Y. I guess he was in the Model Y before Drew got to review it. Way back when.
That's right. I
and
watched
actually have got
Frugal Tesla guy's video of your Model Y before I met you, which was pretty trippy.
This is the
I
same
saw the video,
car.
and I was like, "Whoa, it's cool." He met up with someone with a Model Y.
This
And
is
then
the
later
same Model Y that Frugal Tesla guy touched, and it's not even weird.
Yeah. And I've driven his 3, and it's a nice 3. I believe it's the rear-wheel drive, and it's a fun car. And he's done all different modifications. He's very much comfortable with his Tesla, and his channel shows that he's gone ins and outs of putting in the rotating screen and all that, and adding a automatic frunk and trunk to it, and everything else.
Right.
Yeah.
He's put the mindset of you should fix the car, or if you own a car, you should know how to fix it in a way, or at least having some of that mentality of know what's under the hood, be a little bit more familiar with it, be a little bit more intimate, as Randy put it from my words before. Overall, cool guy. Definitely go check out his stuff. He's got some cool stuff over at his channel. But
it gives me hope seeing Randy's success. That like, okay, maybe even I could do that if it happens to me in the future. It's just another thing to look out for. I do wonder if there's a difference, because I think when you guys got your cars, Tesla was still using lead acid batteries for the 12 volt. And I think they've made the switch to lithium ion now. So I'm not sure.
He even addressed that vehicles after like 2021 or he actually addressed it in that video I watched, where he was like, this is something that seems to be affecting something from this date back, and so newer Teslas should not encounter that. So I think you're actually spot on with that.
Hopefully it doesn't happen, but I did see Dave from Out of Spec, which is just a shout out podcast. We're shouting everybody out today. But Dave from Out of Spec had a similar issue to you with his Ioniq 5, where he knows it was charging the night before, and he came out to it, but everything was dead. Like the screen wasn't on, the doors wouldn't open or anything, and it was just completely dead, even though he knew he was charging it. And he just opens the front. Ioniq 5 doesn't have much. It opens the hood. And
the hood, yeah.
He uses a little... they have these. My dad actually has one because he needs it for his motorcycle, but it's like a lithium tiny charge bank that has 2 little plugs on it, and he just needed to like jump his 12 volt. So because there's no ignition process, the whole car lights up as soon as he touches it. Like he's like, nice. So all you need is this little battery bank. I just keep this in my glove box. It's my Dave impression, I guess. And then he touches the positive and negative, and then it just everything lights up instantly. And he's like, so that's all it is. And I guess some people had that problem with the Ioniq 5. So
that happened with my Tesla yesterday. As I went to go connect the negative to it, and the moment it touched it, all the lights. I was like, "Whoa!"
Show starts.
I'm so. It starts doing the dance.
Yeah.
In the car windshield.
Yeah. It starts.
Yeah.
No, it makes the. As soon as you touch the 12 volt, it's like.
Now I want Baja Blast.
You're gonna be the only one with the pedestrian noisemaker on the podcast, Drew. When you get your car, you'll get to do all these fun things.
That's true. Yeah, I'm excited. Stop! Don't get me thinking about it.
Okay.
I know.
We won't talk about it.
He goes, I'm about to snap.
I don't want to. I just want to wake up and just be in the car. Like I don't remember it.
It's all been a dream.
Was I lucid?
He just blacked out the. Stop. Stop.
Yeah.
I just black out the last 6 months.
I think I've been keeping up in the subreddit, and people who have ordered after me but are taking delivery for some dumb reason have reported that even on the rear-wheel drive, they're getting the Matrix lights, which is a good sign because they were some that were using the old lights and some that were using the Matrix, and now the more recent ones seem to be Matrix again. So I think Tesla's gone back and forth depending on what's in stock. Maybe now that they're slowing down on long-range production.
People who ordered after me for some reason getting their car before me.
How dare they?
It's so weird. Yeah, I don't get it, but
it might just be your location. It's
sometimes when I like to hurt myself, I go on the subreddit just to see all these people who got their car before me that ordered after me. So I go on there just so I can feel something.
Sometimes I stand in the rain just to feel the drops touch my face. I just need to feel the drops on my face one more time.
Something's in me. Yeah. What I kind of don't get is like Lucid's going for even more hyper performance, but it's still a 5-seater 4-door. Like you guys were saying, this should encourage Tesla to release the Roadster. You know, I'm kind of in favor of it. If Lucid's Sapphire encourages Tesla to drop the Roadster, then I'm all for it. All the better to you. Like it's a several $100,000 car that you're buying for the specs. You don't buy the Sapphire because it's practical and has decent trunk space. No, you're buying that for the powertrain. So why do you care how many seats or doors it has? Like that's not the point. Maybe they need a Lucid Roadster.
Stop.
A Lucid Roadster.
No. Oh, please.
I'm giving them ideas now.
No, don't give them any more ideas. They're going to make 5 different trims of that before they even get to the regular touring.
The regular touring.
And then they're going to make like 6 different versions of the touring to get to finally get to the pure. But before they get to the pure, they'll like make it for like
performance.
Yeah, and then the touring range, and then the touring Sapphire, and then the touring Dream. They're going to bring the Dream back for the touring. Yeah. They'll make the Project Gravity after that, and then maybe in like 15 years we get the pure.
I forgot about Gravity.
Imagine Project Gravity Sapphire. Oh dear Lord. It'd basically be Plaid.
If Sapphire is $250,000, and that's a sedan, how much is Gravity?
9.81 meters per second squared.
Remember when they announced Gravity right as Nikola was doing the roll down the hill thing?
Oh my goodness. That's a name I haven't heard in a minute.
Should we talk about unreleased things or things that have no specs yet? Because
oh my goodness.
I know people
like
keep on yes, and yes. I know that people keep pushing you on this, Drew, to make a video, and maybe you will at the time that this podcast comes out, but Dodge released or unveiled, I should say.
Oh my God!
Dodge unveiled get this. I guess it's only 3 words, but the Charger Daytona SRT, and specifically the one that they showed off was the Banshee. So 4 different words for a single car, and they're not even into like anything else. The one thing that was a spec that got me excited for it, I guess I should say, the Charger Daytona SRT is basically the first EV muscle car, and they're appeasing the audience that wants utility for their cars, like most compact utility vehicles that we see on the market, like the Blazer and everything else. They showed that this muscle car has a hatch in the back for that utility aspect to be able to put wherever you want in it. And so it's only a 2-seater muscle car. But
that's
it's coming with
buy muscle cars.
Right. But it comes with an 800-volt architecture, which is great news because that means it's going to get fantastic charging, or at least one tier of it will. It kind of depends on what they make because what's his name? His name is Tim Knisk. Oh goodness, I'm gonna butcher it.
Just Tim.
We'll just call him Tim K. Tim K. Not Tim Apple. Tim K.
Tim K.
Tim K. announced that
Tim
there's going to
Wexler.
Good morning. Basically, they're gonna make 3 trims of this thing.
Just imagine Tim trying to say good morning, but the car's too loud. Good morning. I'm so excited.
Drew, make the loud noise. Make it. And that's all we have to present today. Thank you so much for coming.
That was good. Good job. Teamwork.
Apparently, yeah. Going back to it, they're gonna make 3 different trims of this, and in those trims, they have a whole bunch. They have the Erupt transmission that is gonna provide a whole bunch of different modes and all that. Yes, a transmission on the EV. So we got like the efficiency.
It's kind of like the Taycan, right?
Yes. But this one's probably going to have more gears, so you get that shifting feeling because their focus was having.
No,
I don't know, but they're going for they're going for sound.
That can't be right.
I don't know.
They are. It's in.
I believe the 2-speed thing because that improves your range at highway. But if they're doing more than 2, then
I think they're doing more than 2.
Like,
just how he worded it.
No sense because they're trying to do the Need for Speed thing where like you're at the drag strip and you floor it and you're but if it's an EV that is pointless because it's just it's a single power like the Sapphire, look, no transmission, it's blue, there's no gearbox,
It's blue,
and it literally the fastest cars in the world don't need a transmission. And if you're trying to go, what does muscle car even mean at this point? Like,
I don't know. Tim K's
manly.
word. Tim K's word is, or not word, but his own words on this is that this is not the EV they want you to have. And I'm assuming they means the rest of the market who's making EVs that have decent range and only use.
He's right, but not in the way he thinks.
Yeah.
This is not the podcast they want you to listen to.
I think that's the mentality as well.
No,
he also.
It's true. I don't want anyone to own this.
I watched this whole presentation twice, begrudgingly, and multiple times Tim K is patents. Oh yeah, that has a patent, or patent this, or patent that. Like everything's patented. It's like, man, just show the car. Like, no one cares, or like, give us specs. We know that you have patents. You don't have to shove it in our face that you have patents and all that. Just let the product talk for itself with its 126 decibel exhaust noise.
No.
Did they say that?
Patents or 126?
No, the 126 decibels. They put it
126. He said it's matching the Charger decibels, which that maxes out, I think, at 126.
So they're not telling you range. They're not telling you price.
Nope.
They're not telling you horsepower. Did they even mention?
They mentioned horsepower in regards to what the Charger and Challenger had, but of course those are discontinued. But they didn't say. They said
new one horsepower.
They said that they're gonna match and or exceed the acceleration of the current Chargers and Challengers, and the top speed they want to match as well. So use that as a metric. But
they didn't want to provide any real specs on this car except the decibel rating.
Yeah, and
It's
patents.
a really good car, really fast, really good,
really loud.
It's really loud.
Yes, it was really strange about the presentation as well. Is it was like almost 2 minutes straight of like the car slowly going around like this circuit where like all these onlookers are looking at it at the event. And it's just 2 minutes of it like vroom, vroom,
Which is a subwoofer.
Yeah, it's just a giant speaker making noise.
I could do the same thing with my Google Home Max and my phone. You could just turn it up all the way. There.
Or you could
Does
do it
that
on your...
also make you happy?
Don't know. I've got no clue.
I don't. It's so stupid. I kind of. So yeah, I do think I'll make a video about this just because so many people were asking, but I'll save the rant for now. That I'll just say on the record, I hate loud cars with a passion, like in my soul, in my heart. I hate them, from multiple use cases of either neighbors revving them up late at night.
He also mentioned that. He mentioned that.
How did he mention?
He said, like, oh, besides waking up your neighbors at night, we also are trying to do this. I can find the quote, but he did mention that as well. I'm like, he's got this in mind, knowing that people will do this.
They like enjoy annoying people. But specifically, there was a time I was driving my sister and my niece to the airport, and we dropped them off, and I was helping everybody get out of the car, and my sister was getting her luggage, so I was holding she was very young. She was probably a year old. And some moron revved up his, I don't even remember what it was, some truck as loud as he could, and it like terrified her. And she just like clung to me, and I tried to cover her ears as much as I could. And I wanted to, never more in my life, I'm a pretty passive person. I'm a pacifist. I don't confront. I never wanted to punch someone more in my entire life than the guy that chose a busy airport to rev up his car. There's children around with like young, delicate eardrums.
Yeah.
And she's scared. She was like, shivering. Like someone who enjoys that. Like it's one thing if you just enjoy the loud rev and you're at a car show. I don't care. If you're at a place, at an airport on a runway far away from people and it's the middle of the day and you're celebrating a bunch of cars and you want to rev it up, that's one thing. If you enjoy that, okay. But in the age of EVs, cars have GPS now. Cars know what time it is. I'm all in favor of banning that in any place that you can know is not a car show. And at a certain time, if it's past 7 o'clock, or if you're in a residential area, and if the speed limit is 25, you do not need to be blowing 126 decibels out of especially if the engine isn't even doing anything. It's literally just speakers. Like yeah. I hate that so much. Just that It's such a like selfish attitude of I don't care what other people think. I don't care if this is an inconvenience to others. I just like loud noises because they make me happy. Doesn't matter how it
because I'm the main character of my story. None of you people matter. So therefore, right. I don't care whose delicate ears I'm hurting.
It's disgusting. I hate that personality.
The quote is, "It needs to do more than look good and wake up your neighbors."
Oh my
god.
So I think their 3 pillars was like aero, sound, and performance and all that, in which they claim that they had to sacrifice some of the aero for the looks. The sound is just a giant speaker, and the performance that's going to be detrimented by both the aero and also what their battery pack is going to look like, where they're going to source the batteries and how much range they want it to have. And along with that, they didn't even announce a price. So we have no clue if this is going to be like an $80,000 2-seater that
it probably will be.
Wakes up your neighbors.
Make that many.
Who knows?
They're clearly not taking this car seriously, in my mind. They're going to be very limited volume, so they'll probably charge a lot for it. And the number of people that would actually want that is so low, in my opinion. Like, who cares about if you care about the sound your car makes, then you're not buying an EV.
Yeah.
And if you're buying an EV, you don't care about that. I just think they ticked off both parties. Like, I don't think the muscle car community wants that, and I don't think the EV community wants that. So
I think my favorite image from the unveiling is one that Drew can include in the edit or wherever. But basically they brought up how even EVs today, they look boring, but they're quick. So I don't know what he's trying to prove, because he's boasting that the Daytona Charger SRT Banshee looks amazing. So is it going to be slow then because it looks good? Or is it supposed to also be quick? Because if you're trying to like challenge the statement that even boring EVs are quick, I don't know.
Do you think that by trying to be a jerk and get negative attention, that's at least attention, and that works for them or something? Well, the type of customer you're trying to attract doesn't seem to be one that I would want to, I guess, associate with. I don't know. There's something, there's a disconnect here. I think you like spot on there, Drew, is that like you don't want an EV then. Like you're everything that you're drawing towards is you just want this muscle car, whatever that means, and you want to flex, but then also call it an EV. But I think it completely misses the mark on what an EV. It's like driving an EV. I mean, we kind of saw a little bit of this in the earlier stuff, but it's like driving an EV that has gears, and you have to manually shift the gears. It's like, no, you want to drive a manual transmission. So
yeah, that's you don't want an electric car. That's not what you're looking for.
Yeah.
Like I can put a little gearbox there that does nothing. Isn't that the same concept? You could put a shifter there that literally is connected to nothing, but it's like a toy that just.
I think what they should do is actually, if they want to capture that, that's actually not a bad idea. Put a shifter there, connect it to the speaker, but connect it to the speaker, right? Because you get the sound and you get the feeling. The only thing that maybe you don't get is like
just buy a muscle car, just buy a gas car at that point.
I understand that, which is kind of tough, right? Because they've killed off its predecessors, the Daytona, Daytona SRT, whatever it is. They killed off the Challenger and Charger, which even me, who isn't a big muscle car fanatic, my wife is more of the muscle car fanatic, but she's more on the Mustang side of things. It's sad to see those things go because you see Chargers all the time on like highways that are driven by police, and they're beautiful cars, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. And the Challenger has that look. It has the iconic, very flat, and then stub nose body, and it's a very distinctive shape. And then to like kind of combine the two into this thing, heck of a job trying to do it, because I can see both in there with the front and the back looks like Challenger and the side profile looks like Charger. It's a weird attempt at an EV, I think, is at least my humble opinion. Not trying to.
That's a word for it. That's.
Yeah,
weird.
It's an interesting attempt, and they haven't put out any specs, so it's us to judge based on just looks and presentation. But they're not starting on the right foot, at least from what I can tell from you guys, but also for myself. You haven't sold.
I think
me.
it's the wrong. I think
not
it's
the target audience,
take.
I guess. Yeah.
This is also coming from 2 Tesla owners and 1 potential Tesla owner in the hopefully next few weeks.
Potential.
I hope. I mean, I just feel like it's okay to be nostalgic. Like if you like the old Chargers or you like the old muscle car, they're not like the government's not going to come crush all of those. Like GM crushed all the EV1s. That's not what's happening. Like those still exist. Gas is still here, and we're trying to ban like new gas car sales in some states by 2035. Okay, so like you can keep your old muscle cars, you can keep working on them, and if you want to take them to the racetracks or you want to ride around town in them, you can do that. It's not like we're taking that away, but if you're building a vehicle for the future, a new car on a new standard with a new architecture, new voltage, then take advantage of that architecture. It's like dressing up a car like a horse. It's like putting a tail on a Model T or putting horseshoes on a Model T because, well, I'm going to miss the days riding around in my... You still have horses. You can still go ride them around if you want. But don't try to dress up your Model T like it is a horse. Like, don't... let the EVs be EVs and let the gas cars be gas. I don't understand, like, what demographic of people are not sold on EVs, but if they get fake speakers that make noises, now they're sold on EVs. Like what people are that simple to be like, yeah, electric vehicles are cool. I wish they made fake sound. That's I don't get anyone that thinks that way. I've yet to meet someone. Comment if that's how you feel, and try to explain your reasoning. Because to me, it's like there's no functional advantage. There's a huge annoyance involved with it, and it just seems like a waste of parts, waste of time, waste of eardrums. And if you like your old muscle cars, those are going to be way cheaper. I don't know what they're selling for, but probably going to be less than this, and they're already available. And
Yeah.
I mean, it perplexes my brain, especially when we know that the main limiting factor with EV adoption is not demand. Like, if your argument is, well, we're trying to convince more people to switch to electric, that's not the problem. Even if you switch more people to switch to electric, we still have a year-long wait for some of these cars. So the biggest problem preventing EV adoption is not that we can't convince enough people. So it's okay if we can't convince someone that really loves loud cars that they should buy an EV. It's okay. We're short on cars. We got plenty of buyers. But what's limiting us is production capacity. And the idea that there's going to be batteries and chips going into a vehicle like this that doesn't need to exist or shouldn't exist, at least in this fashion, just feels wasteful to me. It's just like, okay, those could have gone into the electric Dodge Ram, right? That's what they've teased for a while now, but they haven't unveiled it. Like, same company, same brand. They could have put that towards production of that, which I think there's a ton of demand for. And a lot of people want electric pickup trucks right now because there's not very many options. But instead, we need to put it in a two-door car that's going to have transmissions and speakers so that you can pretend you're driving a gas car but not be driving a gas car. It's like, yeah, I can't. It's hard to put into words.
It's almost like almost like you're ashamed to be an EV owner. You're a closeted
you're like trying to
EV
deny
owner.
what the product is.
Yeah. There's something off about that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It makes me appreciate, though, Ford's approach to EVs, right, compared to Dodge. Ford's like, well, crossovers, they're probably a better way to get into the market, so they go with the smartest approach of Mach-E, which has very silly name of Mustang Mach-E, but it's turned out to be...
named it Mustang, but crossover, I understand. Yeah.
Still, smarter entry into the EV space, and it doesn't capture what their muscle car brand is necessarily, but it has those callbacks, right? And it has those graphics that definitely make you reminisce about the days of muscle cars, but you have more responsibilities, and or it's now the future. You're working with this now. And the same with the F-150, right? They recognized, what does the customer need or want? They want this. And yes, Dodge is maybe recognizing their customer base of they want loud car, but we can't make loud gas car anymore because of government rule.
There's no reason for it to be loud. Yeah.
Yeah. We make loud electric car? No. Make it loud on the inside. I don't know.
That would be a decent compromise. I wouldn't be against that. Just the inside speakers make the sound.
Let it give you the effect that you're doing it without being a jerk to, 1-year-olds at the airport.
You could even put some haptics in the seat if you want, so it feels like a rumble. But
exactly.
Your car, you can do what you want, but don't force other people to hear it. That's like if I drove around everywhere honking my horn because I thought the horn sounded nice. That's the closest comparison I could think of, because maybe people who are into muscle cars don't understand. But Drew, the sound of a V8 roaring is so set. No, it isn't. But okay, what if I had a different sound that I was obsessed with, like my car horn just, and I just drove by your house every day going, you would find that really annoying. Okay, well, don't assume everybody enjoys the exact same thing as you. It's the same reason I hate people that blast music in their cars with the windows down and the crazy stuff. Like, stop. Listen to it yourself. You don't need to share it with people 3 blocks away. That's not necessary. There's others.
This
other
is
people.
my mixtape. Find me on SoundCloud. I've had that happen. I was like, oh my goodness.
So, needless to say, I'm disappointed. But
Yeah.
I guess my hope. I had no expectations going into this. I've never been much of a Charger fan or anything, but I think it says a lot about what a muscle car is, which is like, it's just muscle. It's not strength. It's not speed. It's not performance. It's just, someone doing this. It's flexing. It's all about the sound it makes. It's not about how practical it is. It's not about how fast it really is.
I mean, when you don't got the range, the efficiency, the price, the anything, then if your claim to fame is the sound, I mean, I guess, but
they basically are flexing that they have microphones. We recorded the sound of a gas car. How about that? Is that impressive?
100 years in the making. You're welcome.
I just want to ask these people, like, do you genuinely think that will age? Like,
age as well as 3D TVs with curved displays worked.
I think it will age worse than that, even. I think, like, even that had a better concept of, like, a new dimension. This is, like...
This is a bad dimension.
Certain scenes will spit water at you.
I don't know. It'd be like...
it's like Ford's perfume that they released that smells like gas. Dodge will do it in this car, and it'll spray out exhaust smells into your cabin.
Yeah, like, how about you just make the whole thing an EV, but then you put in a combustion engine that idles all the time so that it's still spewing out carbon monoxide no matter what?
You can still put gas in it.
Yeah. It's just the gas isn't doing anything. Like, is that the same approach? Some people really love the smell of, like, gas and diesel burning. Are you going to put those perfumes
I'm going to say you need to go get help, and, hopefully you can break that addiction.
Genuinely, if you're smelling it, it's probably toxic. It's probably
hurting you.
Yeah. If you can smell it, you're too close. That's what it should be a warning, not like a, that's so good. Yeah.
So I guess
just by natural causes, those people won't last as long, right? If someone wants to smell diesel fumes more often, they're probably not going to live as long.
No,
inherently.
They'll burn bright and die quickly. I guess since we've mentioned a lot of commenters and YouTubers, I wanted to mention, I guess, putting a pin in this topic. The top comment on this YouTube video that Dodge put out, it was basically a premiere / streamed live event for the Daytona SRT. The top comment is from a guy named Danny. I'll just call him Danny K. He said, as an owner of multiple Stellantis and FCA products, I'll put it in the nicest way possible. If the top tier Daytona EV doesn't make a Tesla Model S Plaid or Roadster seem slow in comparison, best of luck selling these unless they are literally a fraction of the price. Which I think I agree with wholeheartedly. If
that
you
was
want
the nicest way to put it.
Apparently.
Yeah.
But I think that's a really good... I mean, if this guy claims who he is, owns multiple products from Stellantis and FCA, and has been in these cars for a very long time, even if he is also saying this doesn't beat him, why bother then? I think that shows that Dodge did not do a good job presenting this vehicle in its limits.
It's not ready.
What they're aiming for. Well, definitely. But even so,
if you're not willing to even give a ballpark on range and price, like, too soon.
Yeah. Take your time, and which is what I hope Ram does with their truck. If it's not ready for specs, wait. It's okay. Sure. If you want to release images, great. Have people talk about it and speculate. It'll just bring up hype, which I want. I want to see pictures of this Ram EV, but don't be parading it, making sound and all that, and hoping people will get super excited and want to buy a whole bunch of different trims of it at different pre-order prices. Like, take your time. make a good product. Please. We need more good product EVs to drive down demand that this almost monopoly that Tesla has made with EVs and what others are trying to bring to the competition to make better products for customers. We need to drive down the price of EVs and make more compelling
cars. For the
cars.
record, it's not Tesla's fault that they made an almost monopoly. Everyone else said they were stupid, wrong, and that it wasn't going to work. And this is a product of them saying, oh, crap, we screwed up. But that is not Tesla's problem. So actually, kind of going full circle here. It's like, like rooting for Lucid and not worried about them. It's not Tesla's fault that they're so good. It's on the competition now to do something worthwhile, because now you're playing catch up. Everybody's just playing catch up. Tesla's the one to beat, and stuff like this though. This ain't it, Chief. This ain't it. This is like not money grab, but like if you're hiding behind with the Ford Mach-E, the Mustang, like that was just, I forget the phenomenon what it's called, but they were just using a branded name to help sell it when it was nothing like it. The Ford F-150, different story. So it's like they were testing the waters with the Mach-E, but then they were using a familiar name to sell it. It is on all of the competition. It's on all of you to make your case as to why yours is better or different or worth someone else's time in this market that has no affiliation with EVs and or has no affiliation with Tesla. And right now, the only saving grace that people can kind of lean on a little bit might have to be like, well, ours will be a little bit cheaper. But then the moment you try to break that apart with like range, efficiency, at least the networks are catching up. Like the charging networks throughout the country are worth a damn now. But it's on you. Like, you have to do the heavy lifting as the competitor now, because everyone dragged their feet for a decade. It's not gonna work. We tried. We got the Leaf. They had everything. Like, look how great the Leaf is doing. So, more kudos to Tesla. Not their fault that they're killing it in the industry. And if your way of trying to stand out is look how loud we can be, I'm not seeing the vision here, and I'm trying to be very objective. I'm not.
I think that's what's so pathetic about it, is how like basic of a feature that is. Like, it required no technical expertise to put a speaker on a car that just plays loud sound. Like, am I supposed to be impressed by that? Like,
congratulations.
How did you come up with such a thing? Like,
you made something loud. Good for you, I guess.
To be devil's advocate, I mean, at least for Randy's side, he does audio engineering and he knows what it takes to get a good sound out of something. At the same time, from the engineering side of things, acoustics and vibrations are sometimes tough to manage, and there's a lot of work that goes into it. So I don't think necessarily, I mean, you could put it simply, they slapped a speaker on it, made it play loud sound. Haha, good car. But at the same time, there is work that did go in. So I don't want to disregard that to the engineers and the sound designers for the system. They didn't get to choose. Well, maybe they did, but they didn't get to choose. They probably thought it was
stupid, but someone in charge had to tell them to do it.
Yes. So
maybe it's a great speaker system inside, with acoustics and all that. Like, that would be something. But I think the fundamental issue I find is like, who cares what it sounds like on the out? Like, I know that like now vehicles now they have to have that like ooh noise when you're backing up or whatever, but that humming, but like that.
The difference is the sound was not worked on. That wasn't put in with development of like engines. Engines were trying to develop more horsepower and more torque and more acceleration, and the sound was an outcome of that with the technology of the time. They weren't like tinkering the engine based on, well, this one sounds a little bit more clear. Well, let's make it sound like At least I don't think that's what it was most of the time. Maybe there were some
That's
aftermarket
exhaust
people that
systems.
were trying
There
to
is
get
some
it.
engineering there.
But it wasn't. It was a necessary outcome of the engine design. This is not a necessary outcome at all. This is totally optional. In fact, I think 90% of people would choose not to have it if it was an option.
Can I turn it off?
Clearly, most EVs don't have this, and most EVs are selling pretty dang well. So I don't think it's that important of a feature. You don't hear that. In fact, I think the quietness of EVs is often a big selling point. People love bringing that up when you first start moving around in an electric vehicle. They're always like, wow, it's really quiet.
I purposely don't put on the AC or the heater depending on the time of the year when I introduce somebody to it to show how quiet. Like, all right, let's go. Like, when are we going?
Impressed by the lack of decibels. Tesla has active noise cancellation built into these cars, so that
I go out of my
less.
way to buy the sound suppressant tires to really dampen. I go out of my way to pay extra for that, and I'm like, listen, here we go. Like, wait, are we driving? We've been. I didn't make any noise, by the way. That wasn't Discord
That
muting
wasn't
it.
Discord. Okay.
That's just me. Like, all right, ready? Let's go.
Yeah. It's like time and energy spent on the wrong things, money spent on the wrong things, in my view. Like, even if I'm sure someone had to figure out that algorithm, how it responds to the accelerator pedal, how the speaker changes its decibel rate. Like, someone had to work on that, but they didn't need to. It was not needed.
But they didn't need to.
Depends on the company's vision, but yeah.
Yes. Someone who decided the company's vision, I think, is stuck in the past, and they feel like they don't like EVs, but they feel like they have to make one. It's like
You're a closeted EV. It's like, oh, I'm
Can
living
I drive
my
an
truth.
EV, but no one knows it's an EV. Like, that's what they're trying to do.
Yeah.
Are you saying that Dodge needs to come out of the garage?
Yes. Yeah. Come on, Dodge. Come on, Tim K. Just step out of the garage. Commit. Just go all in on electric. Don't try to be this weird in between.
Guys, I am an EV. You're so brave.
Like, I'm trying to think of other examples. Should they also put in a fake engine under the hood that does nothing? It's just plastic, but it's molded to look like a V8. That's the same exact thing. I don't understand. How is that not the same thing?
Because under the hood, that is more subtle.
You're assuming that they're going to have space under the hood for an engine.
You're like,
it's going to be a whole bunch of other stuff.
Because that doesn't annoy people.
That doesn't annoy people. That's more subtle. It's a
I would have preferred
idea.
that, honestly. It would have been just as dumb, but at least it wouldn't have bothered any other people.
I mean, at this point, just buy a big old, like Hot Wheel and just take the parts of it and like, oh, look,
like a plastic casting that looks like a V8, and they just put that under the hood.
But people are more impressed when you pop the frunk and they're like, where is everything?
Right.
Like, you're
That's
looking at it.
Point. Whoa, wow, there's nothing in there.
Unless it's the Ioniq 5 or the EV6, and then you're like,
see the
that's
pipes,
it?
see the valves on the top. I miss the days where it would annoy all the people around me. I miss
I miss having black fingernails underneath.
I miss when cars didn't have air conditioning, and my sweat would fill.
I
the
miss
seat beneath
not
me.
having power steering.
I think you guys just need to buy old cars. I don't think you need to buy an EV. That's not. You're in the wrong market. Like. If you miss those things. Anyway, any closing thoughts, gents?
That's it. I'm done.
I really hope if Ford makes a Mustang Coupe, they do not follow the path of Dodge, and they make it a whole lot more in line actually with the Mach-E in regards to the performance that they want to get out of it and the features that it has versus loud.
I could see like a real Mustang, a two-door that's more low to the ground, that's all electric and really fast, and I think
my wife wants it.
That'd be fun.
I want it.
Yeah.
I think that'd be a really cool car. Just
sure.
they're just not interested in it right now.
batteries are going towards the more important vehicles, which I think is fair. They're going towards the vehicles that are most commonly driven, which will displace the largest number of gas cars, so F-150s and SUVs. I respect them for that, you know. I don't respect
Utility
them
vehicles.
for raising prices on reservation holders and stuff, but still, like, it makes sense what they're prioritizing. So, yeah. Thank you all. We appreciate you, and hopefully I have something different to report next week.
This feels like Groundhog's Day.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.